Hello, everyone. Welcome to Music Scene Investigation. Let me get my light. That helps a little bit. I don't look nearly so mysterious or anything like that, but that's neither here nor there. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you with us today on Music Scene Investigation. We'll hear 3 more songs randomly selected out of all those sent in to the broadcast, and we'll hear what our panel of experts have to say about them as well. We'll also find out exactly what you had to say about last week's selections. I have those right here. Ian's got the statistics on the witness statements, so I'm looking forward to that. First of all, however, let's meet our panelist for today's broadcast. From New York City, the man with more hair than I've got anyway, Mr. Tom Chianti. Tom, how are you, sir?
Oh, hello. I was just reading Shakespeare.
You need a pipe or a cigar, dude.
Hi, guys.
And some more convincing lies.
Yes.
So what's going on, Tom? How you been, man?
Welcome to the Big Apple. Yes, things are fine. A little disappointing with some down equipment, but we managed to march on. I hooked up some sound contouring outboard gear and been really getting into mid-side mastering and just really honing the arts, the mystical craft of audio engineering.
Well, as Box O'Crap would say, I'm gobsmacked, Tom.
He's gobsmacked.
He said it. I'm just using it in context.
Sister Hazel has a darker side, says good old Ian.
So, Tom, I'm glad you're here. You're looking chipper as always.
Wait a second. Let me put it into next gear.
All right,
we can start the show.
All right, we'll do that then. I appreciate it, Tom. Thank you so much for being here. Over in London, England, our very good friend Ian. Ian Husbands is here as well. And, go ahead, put it on, Ian. We got to see this thing on.
I've got to take the headphones off to do this.
Yeah, that's quite all right. We'll wait for you.
We'll leave them on.
We're going to talk smack about him while he's putting the helmet on.
There you go.
There is Ian, a.k.a. Thor. How about a profile?
You can't really talk smack. He looks kind of good.
And he can still hear us, too. That's amazing. Superhero powers he has.
I have superpowered hearing with these ears.
Those are wings.
Are they? I thought they were ears.
Yeah,
sorry.
no, wings. All right, so Ian, you do have some statistics for us from last week's show when we had, let's see.
I'm just going to stop you there.
Wait.
People are going about what's going on.
All right, go ahead and tell everybody why you have a Thor helmet and Tommy doesn't.
I just come back from playing a festival, VW Action. We do them nearly every year for the past 15 years. And it's a VW show for all the Beetle campers and Beatles campers, carbon gears and all the sort of vehicles that are out there, the classic cars. And every year it's themed, and we've done VW Woodstock, we've done Christmas Comes but twice a year, playing Christmas songs in September. And this year was superheroes. And an extra incentive was added to our pay packet this year to make sure we were all in costume. So the band this year wasn't the normal lineup. We had Batman on the drums. We had Superman on the bass. We had V for Vendetta on the rhythm guitar. We had Banana Man, who you English viewers will know, on the lead guitar. And myself, or Thor, on the vocals. And let me tell you, after an hour of gigging in the costume, I was a bit Thor.
So now let me.
How's your hammer?
I was going to ask if you had the hammer and the whole thing. Yeah. My, that is a huge hammer you have there, Thor.
Well, thank you.
He does. No, I'm telling you, you look more Loki than Thor. Honestly, you have an evil, goatee.
Sorry, if you've seen the films, Loki didn't have a beard. He was much more elven. I'm the goatee, the long hair. It's Thor all over. In other words, I couldn't find another superhero that had long hair and a goatee beard.
Makes sense.
Doctor Strange.
Don't know. Don't know. But before we go too far down that rat hole, nice shirt, by the way.
VW Action, that's probably what
And let me ask you this then, as we're moving on. The witness statement statistics from last week. We had Kevin Kapler, Newbridge, and Contour on the broadcast. Newbridge, of course, was selected by our panelists as the song of the week. What did the witness statements say, Ian?
Well, it was a bit of a controversial show last week because I swear that Mark was only voting for song 2 to annoy Carol, which I think is well out of order. And I went for song 3, Tommy went for song 2, and Mark controversially went for song 2. But our audience are very split, and when I mean very split, it's right down the middle, with the results being best songwriting, with 80% of the votes, song number 3. One for me.
Okay.
Best mix and production, song 2, with 70% of the votes. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Best performance, 50% song 2, 50% song 3.
Really, that close?
That close. So bang down the middle with this. It was a total split decision between our audience as well as our panelists.
I'm actually very surprised by that because, well, no, I guess after thinking about it, though, I guess I can see it. I mean, I'm looking at the card with both bands' names on it and the names of the songs as well. I don't know which I would have picked. I would have been split as well, I think.
There we go, see?
Yep.
I hope that was a plane going by.
No, I'm a little gassy today, Tom. Sorry. All right, thanks, Ian. I appreciate that. Let's meet.
That's right. We have a lovely woman on the show.
We do. We very much so do. Our guest panelist today joins us again from the Live to Play network over at dreadvox.com. One of our favorite panelists to have on, Miss Andrea Bensmiller. Andrea, how are you? Welcome back.
I'm good, except I feel very insufficient now that I've seen Ian's Thor helmet, you know.
It was the hammer that done it for you, wasn't it? Go on.
Yeah, the whole thing, just, I don't know. I feel even more naked now.
Well, I think I got to tell you though, when I talked to you before the show, I was a little bit surprised. I'm not going to say shocked because I wasn't shocked, but a little bit surprised you went and got a new do. I mean, I did it too. I understand the idea behind it, but I like it. I really do. I think you look great.
I love it. It shows how much more beauty there is in her face.
Oh, thank you, Tommy. That's sweet.
I'm Italian.
Yeah, well, when you cut dreadlocks off, you have two choices, basically. You can go through horrid pain for about a week to get them, unlocked, or you can just shave it all off. And I chose the shave it all off approach, so...
It's much easier, and it always grows back anyway.
Oh,
Did you keep them?
Oh, yeah. It will have varying stages of ugly back to the, regular hair. So
Ian actually had a good question.
Did you keep them?
I did keep them. Everybody keeps telling me I should give them to one of the, the hair charities, and I'm thinking about it still. But I did. They're sentimental. I did hang on to them for now.
Well, I think
Fair
that's.
play.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Think that's a good thing to do. Consider the idea, but then sell them on the street to make even more money.
Why don't you just have them weaved back in?
That's always an option.
Of course, you could always make a base strap.
Oh,
I think that's a great idea.
That's an interesting idea, Rich.
I'm nothing if not interesting.
But interesting.
So
Frozen in the chat's just said, "Whoa, what happened to the dreads?"
Yep. So Frozen, you're going to have to take and rewind this video at some point and find out, because I'm not going to tell you. So, Andrea, let me ask you this: since the last time you were on the broadcast, I actually guess the last time you were on with us, You were heavy into teaching, doing a lot of vocal coaching and a lot of work from that area, doing a lot of playing as well. What is your status now? What's been going on with you since last time we had you on the broadcast with us?
I'm still teaching a lot, still playing. I was telling the guys, that country has become real big out here in Vegas. So my last project has been with this Johnny Cash tribute band.
Awesome.
So it's interesting music. There was a lot of Johnny Cash stuff that I had never heard before. So
Johnny was a real rebel.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of rebellion songs in there, So
Yeah, but how many ways can you hit 3 chords?
That's actually one of the challenges. Yeah, some of them do sound a lot alike.
I'm sorry, I love Johnny Cash, but
Yeah.
that's the beauty of what he did. He did amazing melodies and lyrics over very simple chords.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I do have to give him credit for the lyric content. There are a few songs I had never heard before, and lyrically they're really brilliant. So that's been interesting.
Yeah, you got to thank Chris Christopherson and Willie Nelson, I guess, for a lot of that, though, right? I mean, when it comes right down to it, virtually, I'm not going to say virtually all, but a lot of country music was written by the likes of Chris Christopherson, Willie Nelson, and, these guys farmed these songs out to virtually everybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm sure there's a whole, even like music today, there's a whole backstory about who's actually, doing all of the writing and, the behind the scenes stuff. So, so that was kind of an interesting, project that, I had to learn everything basically from the ground up. So, did that for a couple months, and I had told you guys I have a student who's on America's Got Talent right now. So there's been kind of a lot of song arrangement work and stuff like that to do while she's doing that. So
now, this young lady that you have who's appearing on America's Got Talent. Now, let's be honest here. This is a very young lady, right? I mean, she's not someone who's been around the business a long time.
No, she's 11. She's not in the business. She's just an extraordinary voice for her age. She has the voice of an adult. And when they brought her to me at 9, she was pretty close to that. But over the last 2 years, she's really, even gotten, further along down the road. So she's something. She's one of those kids, whether she ends up on the show for very long or till the end, she will eventually be somebody in music.
Now, this is something I've always wondered about shows like America's Got Talent and other talent shows or reality shows that feature musicians and in this case, unknown musicians and things like that. Is this something where, as a vocal coach, you're there supporting the artist throughout the whole time, or has she? She comes and sees you her once a week lesson, and that's what you see of her. How does that work?
Well, yeah, we don't really go to the show because it's this particular one is being filmed in New York. So, but I usually see her once a week when, in the beginnings we were doing a lot of piano arrangement. She also plays piano. So, her first 2 performances she played and sang at the same time. So we were working on a lot of that. And, as I was telling Ian, people don't realize that for these shows, you've got 90 seconds at most to make an impression. So the arrangement, what you're actually going to do on stage, is actually pretty important. So we would go over that together, once or twice a week before she heads out to do the actual show. So yeah, you're not, I wouldn't say we're involved in the show. We're I'm still involved in her development, through the process. But then again, she's kind of flying on her own now. So that's been cool to watch too.
Yeah, you got to be proud of something like that, having a hand in helping her develop her talent and, seeing her actually going out there and doing something great with it, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I got to hand it to her. It's not an easy performance situation at all. I think there are adults who would crash and burn in it. And she's done.
You say that as I cut away to Tommy. I'm just kidding, Tommy.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just 110% humidity in here, and I hope you realize New York is a hot and humid town, much like Vegas. And I'm more interested in what Andrea is doing as a singer-songwriter, because I know she's very talented. You see how I turned that around?
I do, Tommy. Why don't you tell us, Andrea? We know you've been up to some interesting stuff from a singer-songwriter point of view.
You're a master, Tommy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm doing some singer-songwriter stuff. I do I have a large group of friends here that are singer-songwriters, and all of them have either open mics, or I work with one guy who has a singer-songwriter night where he basically has one guest singer-songwriter play with him and another friend. So I do that every couple months. So this month I'll probably spend a lot of time writing, because I have performed a lot of my other songs already, and I'll kind of test out some new stuff. I like to video that particular show, because it's kind of a cute little quaint room, So, and I'm also I finally have gotten my gears in here to put my studio back together again. So I'm planning on doing a solo record. It probably won't be a full produced, all out shebang thing, because I really don't want to spend 2 years on it. But something simple that's really all originals. So that'll be fun. That's always a lot more fun than only playing covers, which is a great gig when you're out and about, playing with the other musicians. But it's nice to go kind of into hibernation and
try some
figure out
new stuff and stuff like that. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're still involved.
I'd love to hear it.
You're still involved in the Live to Play network as well, doing some stuff for them. Any updates on that?
Yeah, we're talking about doing an education module for the site. So we just started talking about that. We'll see. There's always, when you talk about adding a whole section of something to a website, you're really talking about a lot of work and a lot of technical stuff. So we'll figure out how that goes. And every once in a while, I get my writing hat back on. I don't do it as much as I used to. I kind of hit a wall with that, but yeah, every once in a while there's something that inspires me from the playing side, and I'll write a little bit about that. So
well, it's all good to hear. I'm glad you're keeping busy. That's one of the things that we like to see all of our guests do, and you're obviously no exception. We want you to be extra busy. And it sounds like you're doing just that. So that's a good thing, right?
It's great. It's great. I can't complain. I tell people, if you're doing music full time and making a living, it is about as good as it gets as a musician. And I feel really, really fortunate and very grateful for the chance to do it. I play with a lot of great people. I have a lot of great students who are really, really, they're, kind of going places. So it's really nice, Well,
I'm glad to hear it. And I want to make you even more busy, along with Ian and Tom, of course. because I've got 3 songs that are waiting for you guys to listen to them and let us all know what you think of them. So if you're ready for it, I'd like to go ahead and get started. Let's all take a listen to song number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation, everyone. Here it is. This is song number 1. There you had it. Song number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation. We're going to hop over to Ian, find out what he thought. Ian, what's your take on today's first track?
Right. I'm a big fan of guitar solos, but I'm not a big fan of guitar instrumentals like this. And this one really, from my point of view, didn't do much to capture my attention. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some good performances in there. But I found it quite safe in performance. What he's doing well. But I didn't really feel he pushed himself as a guitarist to make me sort of sit up and go, oh, this is new, this is different. He's actually really, really good. The tone of the guitar's great, especially the cleaner side. I felt when the distortion came in, it was a little fizzy on the distortion. Could have done with a bit more bottom end, less top, just to give it a bit of weight. I mean, the rest of the track behind it was so simple. In fact, it was too simple for my liking. I mean, it was like a minute and a half worth of intro, if not longer, and that put me off to start with. I was waiting for the drums and the bass to come in a good minute before they did, to be honest. And, it left you sort of wanting. The whole track left me wanting, really. The drums were obviously MIDI. They came in quite sloppily and then just stayed on a very safe level. Tonally weren't that great. The organ bed, which was going round, was very repetitive and did nothing for me. And the bass, it lacked any sort of bottom end. It didn't have a lush bottom, to quote last week. Again, it was just very safe. Now, I understand that you're trying to highlight the guitarist here, but when you start doing interesting things with rhythms on drums and bass guitars, you actually give the guitarist a bit more scope to work over, to lock in onto rhythmic fills and stuff like that. And I didn't feel there was any of this. It was just a very safe instrumental bed with a guitarist noodling over the top of it without any real flair or beauty that hasn't been done far too many times before, and a lot better.
All right, Ian, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much. Over to Mr. Tom Chianti. Tom, what do you think?
I think that was very insightful by Ian, a little harlot. Yes, you can let the guitarist do a lot more and push it with more interesting rhythms and instrumentation in the background. But I have a question for you. Is this or is this not a G-rated show? Or PG show?
PG.
Then why did we let the guitarist masturbate for 4 minutes and something? That's all it was. It's like, look at me, I can play this. Oh, not only can I play this, I can play this with distortion. And it's the same thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be so hard. I mean, the sound of the guitar, the clean sound, was really good. That's the only thing I can say. And maybe that's all I should say. But, I mean, 8 bars in, I was praying it for it to go into a Latin rhythm and lots of percussion and lift it up. And then, Carlos Santana come into the room. And maybe I'm just so disappointed that Santana took a cab. That's about it.
All right, Tommy. Well, I appreciate it. Andrea, guitar masturbation or something totally different? What do you think?
I don't have a whole lot outside of what Ian said. I thought the guitar tone was great, and the playing, I'm not going to be as hard on the playing as I think the guys are. It was, at some points really tasteful. It was a little bit repetitive. The track, a little bit simplistic. If you're going to use electronic drums or drum machines, really got to find better sounds than that and mix them well. You guys know my deal is when I look at music, I think about it in terms of what its possible purposes are. And, could I see this behind a moody death scene in a movie? Sure. It might land there and you might actually even get paid for it. It would be better off and you'd have a better chance of that working if the background bed was a little bit better. Maybe use some live musicians. But, was it kind of moody and long enough to put under a scene if you had an editor call you and say, I need this guitar thing that's, good enough to support, my film, and it's a low budget film and I have a few $100s to spend, yeah, it might work. It might work. If you're trying to do your solo record, no, it's not going to work. A lot more work, a lot more production, some live players, a little more serious thought about, what you want the world to think about, about you and your and your work. So,
all right. Well, I appreciate it, Andrea. Thank you very much. And for everyone out in the audience and for our panelists, the name of that song is called Breathe, and it's by a group called Earth and Moon. We appreciate their sending that track into Music Scene Investigation. If you'd like to get your music heard by our panel and in front of our audience as well, you can send your music to Music Scene Investigation by going to our website at musicsceneinvestigation.com. It's very easy to do. At the top of the page, you'll see a link that says Submit a Song. Click on that. Follow the information there. It's simple. Very easy. All right, everyone, we have 2 more tracks to listen to. I want to get to them straight away, so let's go ahead and take a listen to track number 2 on today's MSI. Here it is, everyone. This is track number 2.
Simple melody that any man could try to impress your memory. We have long ways to go before you change your mind. Tell me things I shouldn't know. Tell me things I shouldn't try. Secret word, no simple remedy that any boy could use to show he's not the enemy. Why do you fight the truth? Why do you speak the lies? Maybe this is simple, you. Maybe this is where common sense dies.
track number 2 on today's MSI. We're going to go over to Mr. Tom Chianti first. Tom, over in New York where it's hot, just like Vegas, you said that earlier. What do you think of track number 2?
I like the basic idea of this track. I think they need to get out of the rehearsal studio. It sounds like that it was recorded in an 8x12 carpeted room. And all that room is all I could hear, and it can be done live to tape, live to digital. A little bit more care has to be taken with separation issues and balance issues. When the big guitar came in, it just blew the vocalist away. And, obviously, if this was a one-take, live take, I can understand its shortcomings. I like the intro, a little shorter. I think they should pick either one tempo or 2 tempos and stick with them. They're a little bit all over the place, speeding up, slowing down. There's a lot of room for backgrounds, a lot of room for guitar licks and little screechies and little sound effects from the guitars alone, which maybe they will do, and hopefully I think that they should put more time into this. I like the guy's voice. Drummer is going for it. Not quite there, but almost. I think if they had a couple of more takes at it, this would sound much better. And if they would do it in a recording studio, I mean, I hate to sound so self-assured that it was done in a small rehearsal studio, but I just kept hearing that room. And if it's done in a regular studio, then that's not the sound they should be going for. But the song is good, it's interesting. The singer, I like the tone of his voice. It needs work. It's a nice demo and a good start.
All right, Tommy, thank you very much. Let's go over to Andrea Bensmiller from the Live to Play Network and Dreadbox.com. Andrea, what do you think?
I agree with Tommy about the basic of the song. It's a good idea. I like the melody. The theme line that comes in, at the top and continues throughout, and the guitar and the bass play together, is a good, solid idea. The vocalist is decent. I'm going to be honest, the drums are a disaster. To me, it wasn't just about coming in out of tempo. The drummer's not even grooving with himself. The hat was flamming against other parts of the performance. If this is a band, I'd say you're probably not ready to record yet. There's some more work to get done in developing yourself as a band and getting your playing really, really stellar, and making sure that, when people hear you, they just hear great performance. And to me, that's a fairly important part of being a band. Now, being rough and being, original and hardcore, is great, but you really, really, really need to be tight. Tight is important, So until you have that, recording is kind of, it should be a secondary thought for you. Other than that, the mix is a disaster. Whether the live room feel was a rehearsal studio or a production choice, it's not mixed well. It's just, the overall feel of this is that, the drums are taking over the track. The vocal sound itself is pretty muddy. It doesn't sound like, you really want to have that vocal track any more present, because it's just not there in terms of the sound quality. A really, really good start on the composition. I will say that, it's, and if they keep playing together, getting tighter, working out their sound, it really could be something. It just needs a lot more work, I think.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Andrea. Thank you very much. Now over to Ian Husbands. Ian, what's your take on this particular track?
I agree with Andrea, and I hate to say it, I agree with Tom. Sounds to me like one of the many rehearsal studio recordings I've done in the past, and they're great for getting ideas down and for keeping to come back to for reference if you've written a new song and you just want to get it down. They're great for that, but not as a final recording. I mean, lots of things in that mix have got issues. The bass and the guitars tonally might as well have been the same instrument. They need a lot more separation on them. The singer I thought had a great voice like that, but as Tom said, needs some backup vocals, needs some extra bits and pieces going on there, some harmony work. Really strong chorus, like the Straws chorus, it was hooky. I even like the repetitiveness of the bass and the guitar parts. It works in this track because they brought a great dynamic to it, that sort of ebb and flow of the track. And it was quite steep in place, and it worked for me. But, I mean, yeah, let's look at the mix. It was all drums, and he was probably the weakest link in the band, in my opinion. Overplaying. You know, as Andrew said, he wasn't grooving with himself, let alone the rest of them. I like the term "wouldn't swing if you hung him," but we won't use that one. But you know, the hats were sloppy; they were all over the place, and you know, there's lots of double hitting on the snare and stuff like that. And this is a case of why play 8 beats when 4 will do. Simpler is quite often better. And having played with a varied amount of drummers in my time, you know, drummers sometimes seem to forget that there's a band with them. I'm just going to sit here and hit things as hard as I can and as fast as I can. You lot keep up. That's not how you write a song. When you're writing a song with a band, everyone's involved in getting their parts to work with all the other parts that are going on. And this guy just seems like he's not listening to the rest of the band and what they're doing, and he's just doing his own thing and having fun. And not doing it that well. And then they've pushed him right up in front of the mix to highlight his weaknesses. I mean, you know, there's things that can be done. I mean, even this day and age of technology, hate to say it, but things like, you know, quantizing real audio and stuff like that is very easily doable. Just tighten up that track as a whole. But mix-wise, yeah, get into a proper studio, re-record this. There is a good song here, I think, especially from the English indie rock sort of scene. This would go down really, really well on sort of stations like XFM if that mix is sorted out.
All right, Ian, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much, everyone. The name of that particular track is Simple Youth by a group called the Informal Gents, and we appreciate their sending that track to Music Scene Investigation. Now, on a side note, I do have a bit of news for everyone out there. I was informed that our good friends Mark and Carol and their station Butterflies Radio, on which this program is heard, will be down for maintenance tomorrow. So you won't be listening to Butterflies Radio tomorrow, but you can always listen to Music Scene Investigation. Tune in at MSI Radio. That's MusicSceneInvestigation.com. Click on the radio button. We're up 24/7 too. It's all good. All right, one more track for you all to listen to, everyone. This is track number 3 on today's Music Scene Investigation. I'm looking forward to what you have to say about it. Here it is, everyone, track number 3.
Jump it up. 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 Jump it up.
Song number 3 on today's MSI. One of the great things about this show, besides hearing what our panelists think after hearing the song for one time and one time only, is that I get to see their reactions to the music that you don't get to see, unfortunately, but some of it is quite priceless. And I gotta admit, that song was fun to watch everyone's reaction to. Let's go to Andrea Bensmiller from the Live to Play Network and Dreadbox.com, find out what she thought. Andrea, what is your take on the third track of the day?
Well, I fell asleep, but I did wake up with the real desire to jump it up. It's clearly not a song. It's a track. It's a DJ track. I don't know anywhere where even as a DJ track it would be considered a standalone, good enough dance track. There would really have to be something mixed in over it, or with it, or multiple things mixed in with it. From the sonic point of view, they're decent enough sound. Everything's kind of balanced. Obviously, everything electronic, drums, the electro voice, the synth lines, nice enough sounds, but the redundancy, the constant, repetition of those same few lines and the jump it up voice, not really much in terms of a produced final version of anything, I would say this person's probably looking to be a DJ, and if that's the case, great. But as a final, production that you're trying to present to people, you'd have to mix over it. You'd have to do something with it. There's just not enough change, there's not enough going on, and there's certainly not enough ideas for anybody to want to really listen to it for anything other than, I don't know, a review show.
Oh, right. Well, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, Ian, over to you. What do you think of track number 3 on today's show?
As I said earlier, I've just come back from a festival. One of the beauties of a festival is you sleep in a tent. And tents walls, they're pretty thin, as you can probably gather. And the beauty is you're laying there, you've had a few to drink and maybe other stuff on top of that. You're laying there and there's different campsites with different music playing, and it all kind of blends into one and makes no sense. That was this track. I felt like I was back in the campsite listening to 3 different types of music at once that weren't quite gelling together and didn't go anywhere, didn't do anything. Not even the beats, really, from my point of view, were making any sense in the patterns that they were going in. Even beats have an arrangement. They run to, 4 bars of effective verse to a 4-bar pick it up to a chorus part or something like that. If you're writing beats for a track, you need to consider that for parts. Some of the synths, the wompy synths, weren't quite gelling with the beats. They seem to be off time a little bit or in the wrong groove. That one jump it up, whatever it was, vocal sample. I mean, you only need a microphone. They come on your iPhone these days. You can sample your own voice on there. You can mix that up. I mean, it just sounds like someone's got Fruity Loops and gone, bleh, beats. And I produced this. Doesn't it sound great? And because it does, the beats all sound like they're out of box. The samples all sound like they're out of the box. There was no dynamic. There was no movement. There was no arrangement. It was just a cacophony of drums and synths.
All right, Ian. Well, thank you very much. Now over to Mr. Tom Chianti. Tom, tell me what you think, brother. Can you do that in English, please?
Dub. Wobble wobble bass. Dub. Wobble wobble bass. Dub. Vocal sample. I have this plugin. Give me 30 seconds and I could make the track more interesting using the exact same sounds, just by glitching it up, cutting it up. It is first I gotta say, Andrea is doing great. I mean, not only is she very concise and particular about it, but she's also very helpful. Like with the last band, don't waste money going into the studio. With this guy, if you want to be a DJ. With the first guy, just shoot yourself. I think she was doing a great job.
Rich, can you hand me the bucket, please, mate? This is getting a bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I wore boots. I don't know about anybody else, Tommy, but
I got to talk about something. I can't talk about this track, Rich. I mean, it's a 16-step sequence, so let run for 4 minutes.
All right,
it's
so
plug-in. Oh. It's.
And that's what Tommy.
I'm going to sit back and not vote today and just let Ian and Andrea fill it out. Because you know what? There isn't a song on here that's worth it. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Everybody has an opinion, and I respect yours as well.
They're terrible or bad. They're just not at the standard that I think we should allow through. And I've never said that before. We've had some bad music. But the first one is just complete hysterical. I can play guitar. How many notes? The second one, a lot of promise and everything. It just is not in a presentable state. And this one, like I said, is nothing more than a plug-in by Beat My Loop.
All right. Well, let me introduce the track anyway. Track number 3 is not called Dubbity Dub. Track number 3 is called Jump It by Cohms, M. Cohms with Jump It. Thanks for sending that track in to our panel. And now, everybody, you have the opportunity to select your song of the week. Tom is recusing himself. A first time ever for that happening on Music Scene Investigation. So, Andrea and Ian, it's up to you, I guess.
I think you've been a bit harsh, Tom. I think, we vote on a song of the week. And, yeah, these guys have not got recording standards that we sometimes get through these hallowed halls. But there's other songs.
It's not about recording standards, Ian. It's about, I respect this show.
But, we put that guy through the other week with the weird piano and the weird vocals because the song he wrote on its own back was worthwhile. And I think, number 2, you've obviously got a competent singer there, you've got a competent bass player there, you've got a competent guitarist there, and they're writing music. They're taking time out of their lives to put effort into this. Playing it live, it's not just eat my loop. And it's not just look how well I can play guitar. It's a band of guys getting together, making an effort for live music, indie music. Yeah, they haven't got the recording techniques down, and the drummer has got a lot of work to do. But we're here to encourage new acts, so I'm going with number 2, and I'm stating that Tom's being unfair.
All right, for the record, Andrea, what's your take on it? What's your thought on the song of the week selection?
I'm really torn. I'm throwing out 3 because it just, for all we know, it was pre-programmed into a software package, and there's just nothing there. I'm torn between 1 and 2 because, as you guys know, the way that I look at music isn't just about good or bad or well produced or not well produced. It's about whether it's useful. And as boring as the first track, may have been in terms of like, do I really want to listen to a guitar player, play for 3 minutes? It has a use. It has a use in film or TV for a small production that really needed something cheap that would tell the story. It has a use. You might even make a little bit of money on it, right? And I agree with Ian about track 2. I do. It's badly recorded. This band isn't ready, but are they gonna be there someday? I would hope so. I think they have some talent. The song is good. The drummer needs some reining in, but we are here to encourage musicians to get better and to keep growing, and eventually they'll have a great recording, and that would be the point of us being here. So having said that, I'm just going to go ahead and side with Ian. I'm going to take the live musicians over the other produced track, though it's I'm going to say it's not horrible. It has its merits, but I'm going to go with the guys or gals, whoever they are, who are duking it out in the rehearsal space and hope that they can piece it together a little better.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Andrea. And Tommy, I'm going to come back to you, offer you another chance. Change your mind?
Isn't she good?
She is. I hope she changed your mind. You changed your mind? You want to jump in on this?
Well, I like what Ian and Andrea said about, it's a bunch of guys up against the world and fighting. And I like that she found a use for number 1. And I like the fact that she doesn't like number 3.
Okay. So that's where you stand on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I just wanted to make sure, because song number two, the Informal Gents with their track Simple Youth is now our song of the week. We appreciate their being on the show and sending that track in. Andrea, thank you so much for being here. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Rich. It's always fun. You guys know I love being here, so thanks for having me.
And everybody should go over to your website, find out more about you, dreadvox.com, and make sure that they watch America's Got Talent to find out more about your protege, your student, who's actually on the broadcast. So cool on you.
Yeah, thank you.
Did we put her name out? Can we put her name out?
Yeah, her name in the show, she's billed as Anna Christine. And she'll be on this next, I think it's next Tuesday, the next show that airs live, she'll be on again. So, yeah, support, she's a very gifted girl. And
Has she got a website or anything that people can visit?
She has a Facebook page under Anna Christine. She's posting from New York, little bits of information and pictures and stuff from behind the scenes. So, check in there. Of course, there's going to be this whole voting thing. So if you're inclined to vote, then
vote for Anna Christine.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thanks again, Andrea, Tom, Ian, both of you, as always. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody in the audience for being here as well. Of course, if you missed the show live, you can always catch it on MusicSceneInvestigation.com, where we put the recordings. And we appreciate your being here. We're going to play out now with Simple Youth by the Informal Gents. And our
guest next week,
our guest next week is Mr. Lee Haggerty, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Guitarist of the DC Ruts and many others.
And Ian, you were pretty good this week, too, for a change.
Well, I thank you.
He is a superhero, after all, Tom.
I'm not Thor.
Frozen said the panel was definitely heroic this week. I think he missed the first part of the show as well.
There you have it. Exactly, he did. He did. So here it is, Simple Youth from the Informal Gents right now as we go out on this week's Music Scene Investigation. Thanks for being with us, everyone. We'll see you again next week.
There is no lullaby, no simple melody that any man could try to impress your memory. We have long ways to go before you change your mind. Tell me things I shouldn't know, tell me things I shouldn't try.